Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve. Welcome to Born to Achieve podcast, the show that inspires and motivates you to unlock your full potential and achieve your goals. With your host, Warren Andrew Pinder. Let's get started on this week's episode of Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve.
I am born to achieve greatness, and so are you. With us on this episode of the Born to Achieve podcast, we have Mr. Kevin Palmieri. He is the CEO and founder of the host of the Next Level University, a global top 100 self-improvement podcast with more than 2,000 episodes, reaching over 1 million people in more than 175 countries. Welcome to the Bahamas, Kevin. After a brush with suicide, he said, I decided to go all in on my dreams of being a full-time podcast and entrepreneur. I believe in a hard-driven but not BS approach to holistic self-improvement and teaching others how to get to the next level of their lives. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate
Yes.
you having me. I appreciate the energy. I'm excited to chat, my friend.
Great. So here, as we're saying off show just now, Born to Achieve movement is simply what we promote is others being able to share their successes that will inspire others to want to do the same, and let's, just carry this on, because there's a desire, there's a burning desire that everyone knows in their heart that they want to be good at something, they want to be successful. And the truth is they are born to achieve. I want you, with all that you're doing, to say to our listening audience, just say to them that they're in a place, reaffirm them that this is true, if you believe that.
Yeah, I would say most of us are probably way more. We have way more opportunity and way more potential than we think. But I think for a lot of us, we believe that where we are today is where we're stuck. But you have to understand how much different you can become. The version of this Kevin you see today, 8 years ago, I did not think I could ever be the version of Kevin I am today. And I think it's very hard to imagine how much you can change over a decade. And it's very hard to understand how little you change in a day. But yes, if you commit yourself to doing something consistently for a long enough period of time, your life will look completely different, whether it's positive or negative. Good habits compound in an upward direction, bad habits compound in a downward direction, unfortunately.
Great. That leads to that leaves us, because you're speaking of self-improvement. So that is what we want you to really get into right now, to let our listeners know that they can simply improve their position in life. They can improve their health. They can improve so many different things that will make a big difference.
Yep. Well, I think one of the most valuable things and one of the easiest places to look is, who are you surrounding yourself with? Whether you know it or not, you are most likely going to end up with the results on average of the people you spend the most time with. So if I hang out with Warren and Warren's really good at real estate, I'm probably going to get much better at real estate. If I hang out with Warren and Warren's smoking cigarettes all the time, I'm unfortunately probably more likely to end up smoking cigarettes. So self-improvement is as much about improving yourself as your environment, as your circumstances, as your reference group, as your habits, as the content that you take in. But I think one of the easiest things to ask is, are the people in my life what's best for my future or what's best from my past? I think that's one of the best questions you can ask, because if they're not helping you become the type of person that you aspire to be, it might be time to reallocate those relationships. I don't think it's a coincidence that I surround myself with podcasters. I'm a podcaster. Yes. I don't think it's a coincidence that I talk about self-improvement all the time. I'm into self-improvement. And my friendships have either gotten closer or more distance based on core values, core beliefs, and core aspirations. So yeah, I think that's one of the easiest places to look, because the people in your life are either anchoring you or they are multiplying you. It's unfortunately, it really is those two. There's really no such thing as maintenance in life. It doesn't work that way.
Wow. So help us to understand the steps and strategies, and where can a person start to begin that journey on self-improvement?
Yeah, I think the best place to start is to figure out. So if you were to sit down and write out the top 10 habits that you currently practice, I think for a lot of us, we assume we're not consistent. When in reality, humans are consistent creatures. Unfortunately, we are usually consistent in the path of least resistance. So write out, what are your habits? Number 1, I hit snooze more often than I'd like to. Number 2, every time I say I'm going to go to the gym, I don't. Number 3, I never look at my bank account because I'm afraid of the number that's in there. Number 4, I say that I'm going to take my partner out on a date and I never do. I say I'm going to message my mom, whatever. Write out the 10 habits that you're least proud of, and that's probably where I would start, because that really is all success is. It's just making sure you have the right habits, making sure you do them consistently, and then making sure you improve them. But I think for a lot of us, our habits are just on autopilot. So we don't really know. On the way to work, we swing through the drive-thru, we get a coffee, a muffin, and a croissant, and that's a habit. Well, that one habit might be hurting your health. It could be hurting your wealth because you're spending money that you don't need to spend. So that one habit, if we figure out how to reallocate that, is going to put us in a much better position. So yeah, I would start with a habit audit. As unsexy and boring as that sounds, you will either get to your goals based on your habits, or you will not get to your goals based on your lack of habits.
The alternative. You know, everyone, we can speak of habits and generally it's sad, right? When we talk of habits, it's always bad. It's always, it's always bad because, I don't think I've ever heard say, we know that successful people have good habits, but for the masses, it's all about, the bad habits. You see, the addictions, and you see so many other things that waste time, right? Because we're not there yet. But the good habits, what do we adopt? What good habits do we adopt?
Man, one probably, so simplest, I put one under health, one under wealth, and one under love. That's our brand is health, wealth, and love.
Health, wealth, and love.
I want to be successful everywhere, Warren. I don't want to be rich and heartbroken. I don't want to be rich and out of shape. I want to be everything. I want to earn it all. So under health, you could start with, I'm going to try to sleep 7 hours a night if I'm only sleeping 6. I'm going to try to sleep 8 hours a night if I'm only sleeping 7. That, a simple one, if you're somebody who is aspiring to develop fitness habits, start weighing yourself if you're not yet. Awesome. If you're already doing that, let's aim for 30 minutes of exercise a day. Awesome. We can start there. When it comes to wealth, I always suggest the first thing you do is start tracking your bank account every day. Simple, takes 10 minutes max. Might be some pain associated, but awareness creates opportunity. And then for love, it depends. One of the habits that I have that I track every day is called proactive thoughtfulness. So I try to go out of my way to do something for my wife that I just wouldn't normally do. If you're riding solo and you don't have a partner, self-love could be journaling. It could be 10 minutes of meditation. It could be whatever, a bubble bath, whatever makes you feel good about you, whatever makes you feel like you're pouring into yourself. But the beautiful thing about habits is you can start wherever. You don't have to track 20 habits a day like I do. You don't have to do that. You can start with 3 and they can be super simple. And then when it comes to becoming sustainable and you can do it relatively easy, then we can add something else on. So now I wake up and I weigh myself and then I go to the gym for 30 minutes. Awesome. And then I track my bank account and then I send one message to a prospective client. Awesome. And then I do a proactive thoughtfulness with my partner and I meditate. Awesome. Now you're doing 2 habits under health, wealth, and love. And then eventually that just becomes second nature and you don't really have to think about it anymore. And that leaks into your identity. And you identify as, I am the type of person who wakes up, weighs myself, exercises, and 5 years later, life is weird.
Wow.
Thank you for joining today's podcast. We'll be right back.
Achieve Man, written by Warren Andrew Pinder and Dominique Bradford. This book passionately focuses on the challenges women have been made to go through and how to overcome them. In some cultures, being a woman disadvantages the girl child. This book carefully exposes the hurdles you might face. This masterpiece is the ultimate self-help guide for women. It reveals your true purpose and identity. Get your copy today. Available from Amazon.
We now return to today's podcast.
How many lines down can you give analogies? I mean, like versus health, wealth, and love.
All of them is the goal. Yeah, all of them is the goal.
there's something I haven't done it recently, but on my TikTok channel, I always say, help me make it make sense. And you are making so much sense, right? You're making good sense right
I
now
appreciate it.
with everything that you're saying.
It's simple, Warren. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy, right? Like
Yeah.
when I first started tracking habits and I was trying to improve, the thing that I had three things, I think: bank account, exercise, and there was one other thing. And in the beginning, it seemed impossible. It was
Right.
like, there's no way I could do this every day. And then eventually you do. And it gets harder, but you get better. And then it gets a little bit easier. And then eventually it just becomes kind of normal eventually.
Wow. Give our audience the most important habits that they can list to track.
Ooh, probably. It's a loaded question. I would say probably learning for X amount of time per day. For some reason, after school, whether it's high school or college or whatever it is that you got to, we just kind of stop learning.
Mm-hmm.
If you learn, let's just say you learn for 10 minutes a day. You are learning for 70 minutes per week. You're learning for 280 minutes per month. Multiply that by 12. You're reading however many books by just doing 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
You are a completely different human if you do that. I would say that's probably the lowest barrier to start for sure.
Okay. That is excellent. Now, you're speaking this, right? You're saying this, and as I said, you're making sense. But let the people know the story behind it. Let them just give that background story, what that brought you to this point.
Yeah, I was raised by my mom and my grandmother. I didn't know my dad. I didn't meet my dad until I was 27. Lower middle class, did not have a lot of money, did not have a lot of opportunity. Decided not to go to college because it didn't make sense. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I wasn't going to pay somebody to help me figure it out. Job hopped from quote unquote dead end job to dead end job. I worked at a gas station. I cleaned bathrooms overnight at a hospital. Truck driver, forklift operator, tiling, on-call firefighter. I did a bunch of stuff. And I never thought I was going to be successful. Eventually, I fell into a unique opportunity in a job that paid a lot of money. Thought that I was going to be quote unquote successful, but I still ended up sitting on the edge of a bed contemplating suicide after having a 6-figure income, winning a bodybuilding show, having a girlfriend that was a model, my dream car. I had everything that you could ever want. But the thing I never did was I never worked on me. I never did self-improvement. Ever, 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 ever. I learned that the more I did self-improvement, the more I felt fulfilled and the more capable I became. And even when I lost all of my quote unquote success, I was able to work on myself, and then I was able to get better results in life. And then I got addicted to it and I fell in love with it. And now I can't imagine a day without getting just a little bit better, because as I get better, my life gets better. As I get better, my relationship gets better. It's not going to work any other way. Yeah. My relationship with my wife cannot get better if I don't get better and she doesn't get better separately. It doesn't work that way. So I'm lucky enough to have seen the benefits, so I'm hooked. If you're out there and you haven't yet seen the benefits, it takes time. So one of my favorite quotes: from day to day, progress is invisible. I did a bunch of podcast episodes yesterday. I'm going to do a bunch today. I am no measurably better. From year to year, progress is impossible to miss. If I go look at an episode I did 3 years ago, Warren, it was terrible. Hot garbage, not good, embarrassingly bad. But it didn't seem like I was getting any better along the way. So again, going back to positive habits or bad habits, they compound. They just don't seem like they matter in the day-to-day, because they kind of don't unless you do them long enough.
Yeah. So it's a matter of that focus, right? It's a matter of we're bringing focus to our lives, basically, with these habits. Yep. Creation and following, tracking, like you said, tracking of the habits. All right, because a lot of us don't really do it. You'll be surprised how much money you're wasting by simply just tracking things that you don't need.
It's rough. It's rough. I remember when I really got into tracking my finances, I realized I was spending like $600 a month on takeout.
Wow.
Just takeout. Oh, maybe that's why I'm broke. because I'm spending $600 a month on pizza? Like, what are we?
Maybe that's why.
What are we
Maybe that's why I'm not healthy.
Right.
Because
Right.
so it's just so much things connecting here, right? We're just connecting. We're connecting the dots. So, but like voices really listening to us right now, and feeling it, and like, hey, it's making sense. It's talking something that I can really relate to. We're going in that direction. But the biggest twist to this, when you talk about love, you're talking about tracking love. Right? I mean, like, how do you become an expert in that? How do you measure tracking love and bringing this same principle into the game?
Number one, if you're in a relationship, you have to figure out what are the most important things to measure for your partner and for you. So my wife loves quality time. She loves when I'm thoughtful. She loves fun, unique experiences. And she loves gifts. Those are kind of her love languages. It's important for me to know that because those aren't necessarily the things that I receive love in. So one, you have to be aware of what actually matters. If you don't know what matters with your partner, it's not going to work. Just because I think I like a massage. Well, if she doesn't like a massage, that's not thoughtful. That's not fun, unique. It's not a gift. So yeah, one, it's awareness. And then two, it's sitting down and really saying, hey, I want to make sure that as a couple, we are as successful as we can be together. And I mean, I want us to be connected, and I want us to be vulnerable, and I want us to have all the things that we want. What do you think of doing a check-in every week where we sit down and I just say, hey, Warren, last week, what were the highlights? What were the lowlights? What's one thing you wish I did more of? What's one thing you wish I did less of? And a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rate the week? Boom. You are off to the races. Now you know every week you have an opportunity to give proactive feedback to your partner. They can give proactive feedback back to you. And now at least you're living in the truth. That is a great place to start.
I'll tell you that's a good conversation. That helps. It's a healthy conversation too.
For sure.
So and we can go down the line. Like I said, we can just spread that across in so many facets of our lives.
Yeah.
So is really healthy in that your improvement each day, right? You're actually allowing yourself to grow by interacting and like you say, learning things that you could never imagine that you were just doing and not really making sense.
Yeah.
But here this brings that type of perspective. So you've been on so many podcasts. You've spoken to persons. Speak to us about the university, all right? The self-improvement that you're promoting.
Yeah. For us, we were men who got successful, but were extremely unfulfilled. And we were really good at one thing. I was in really good shape, but my relationships were garbage. I made a lot of money, but my mental health was in the toilet. So we decided, look, we're going to create a company where we do a podcast episode every single day on life, love, health, and wealth, because if we're going to talk about how you can get a little bit better every day, we better be there leading the charge. And that grew into a company of a bunch of free stuff, Facebook group, email list, website, free meetups, free book club, all this other stuff, all the way down to one-on-one coaching, group coaching, some paid services, and some paid products. Our thought is this: no matter where you are in your personal development journey, or where you are in your financial journey, there is somewhere for you within Next Level University. If you're struggling with money, the podcast is free. It will always be free. We do an episode every day. We have a free Facebook group, posting it every day. We have free meetups every month, always going to be free. If you're somebody who says, I've been into self-improvement for a minute and I'm ready to go to the next level, cool. We have coaching, we have a journal, we have a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, the thought process is you can grow with us. And no matter how much you want to grow, there should be a spot for you to grow to the next level with us, because we're going to hopefully be able to lead the charge on that forever.
That's excellent.
Now for a commercial break.
Achieve Men, written by Warren Andrew Pinder. In this book, you will learn the 7 steps to achieving your dreams and goals. Given the vision to share how the acronym of the word achieve can be used systematically in your day-to-day life. Each of us is given a unique gift from God. Get your copy today. Available in print, ebook, and audiobook from Amazon.
We now return to today's podcast.
What are some of the successes that you've achieved?
Oh, man. I mean, crossing 2,000 episodes with a podcast is like, nobody really does that. That's super, super, super rare. We have $1 million business, which is weird to even say. I didn't know that was going to be a thing. I never thought I would be in a very successful marriage, and I have a wonderful wife who supports me, and I support her, and we're on this mission together. So that's amazing. Honestly, I think the biggest success is we've had a lot of people who have done things that they never thought they would do because of our content or our coaching or our support or our community. I think the success of the community speaks to the success of everything that we have the privilege of doing. So I think that's really what matters the most, because if you want to grow, if you want to evolve, if you want to make more money, whatever, you have to impact people. That's how you grow. That's how you become successful.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had the opportunity to impact a lot of people, and I do not take that lightly. That is a responsibility I really, really appreciate, and I really take seriously. So I think that's probably the biggest success is we've had the opportunity. Yeah.
And like you're saying, like I told you earlier, right? We achieve movement, we're promoting the same. We're trying to ask persons that like yourself who have achieved these successes to do exactly what you're doing right now, to share it, because you don't know who's listening. You don't know who's going to be inspired. All right. Who's going to want to create that podcast to inspire others? Or you don't know someone that may be down on their financial, they're done. But, it can be, uplifted to really understand that through the habits that you have quite eloquently, stated, it can change, because it's every day is a learning opportunity. Every single day that we're alive is a learning opportunity. It's a matter of us wanting to do so. And it's so easy to find it right now. Access is like just super easy.
For sure.
But, man, but give us to our listeners, right? I'm sure, give them something that would really conjure their mind right now to get up and get started on like we say, this achievement journey.
Unfortunately, I hate to be the guy to say it, but we are all going to perish and we are all going to die. And that is inspiration in a nutshell. You're not running out of time, but if you're not doing the right things, that clock is ticking faster. And it doesn't take that much to start the shift of your life. I'm never going to be the guy who says, look, you can change your life tomorrow. No, you can change the trajectory of your life tomorrow. You can change the trajectory of your life right now. So do not let this moment pass. Do not let the inspiration pass. Get up and do something right now. Pause this episode, open your app, look at your bank account, pause this episode, reach out to someone you love, pause this episode, call the gym that you've been waiting to sign up for. Don't let the inspiration, don't let the motivation pass, because when it does, oftentimes the action goes with it, unfortunately.
Couldn't be well said, right? We know we're all gonna die. So just make the best of it. It's just
unfortunately. Look, I didn't come up with the rules. Unfortunately.
But you want to achieve something. You want to make sure that before you do, you achieve something, like you said, just pause it and go and start. So that's just to recap that, right? Let them know where they should begin working. Like you said, help, love, right? Let them know how they can set up a matrix of a spreadsheet, and they can start tracking all of the bad habits and turning them into good habits.
Yeah. So if you like spreadsheets, do spreadsheets. I started on a freaking flashcard. So you can start on a flashcard. I would just make 3 columns: health, wealth, love, and then just for the sake of simplicity, under health, let's just put 30 minutes exercise. Under wealth, let's just start with tracking your bank balance. And then under love, if you're in a relationship, I would say play the gratitude game. So every night before you go to bed, just say one thing you're grateful for about your partner and vice versa. If you're riding solo, let's just say one thing you're grateful for about yourself. Boom. You do that. And when you get to the place where you're averaging 75% a week, where you're doing all of your habits for 75%, then you can up it. But until then, I would just focus on those 3. And I know it either seems incredibly small or like it's not going to make a difference. I'm telling you, it is a really good foundation to start for sure.
Oh man, Kevin, give our listening audience, some of your handles. So I'm sure someone will want to reach out to you.
I appreciate it.
All right, let them know exactly how.
Yes, the podcast is called Next Level University. It's on all the platforms. It's on YouTube every day. I am at Never Quit Kid on Instagram. And then if you have questions, comments, concerns, you need ideas, whatever it is, my email address is kevin@nextleveluniverse.com. I do my own emails, so I will see your email and I'm happy to respond.
Oh man, this has been exciting. I love the concept. I honestly love it, and I know that our listeners will benefit just from what you're saying. Like I said, you've made a lot of sense, and
I appreciate
it. And you shared with us that others may be inspired, motivated to want to stop and pause this show right now and start writing down everything about all your bad habits, about health, about wealth, about love, these things that will make a difference in your life starting today once you're able to do that. But Kevin, has been excellent having you on the Born to Achieve podcast. This episode has truly, it's helped me, all right, to want to continue what we're doing and, look forward. Just share with, we ask you that if you can share our podcast, let us know, let your listening audience know that we're trying to do something, to do the same on this side. But it's been great. We thank you and appreciate you being here, brother.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Like I said, I appreciate the energy. I appreciate the mission, and I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of it.
Great. This has been the Born to Achieve podcast with Kevin Palmieri. You got to listen to it.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Born to Achieve. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and motivating. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family. Stay focused on your goals, and we'll see you on the next episode of Born to Achieve.
Take advantage of this incredible opportunity. Sign up today and claim your free ebook at www.borntoachievegreatness.com. Follow us on Facebook at Achieve Movement Inc. Get your copy of Exploring Achieveland, A Journey to Realize Your Dreams, Motivational Stories of Kindness, Inspiring Stories for Kids on Amazon and Kindle.